Used to have a nice office down here in the Wrigley building.
Ooh.
Had a $500 a day heroin habit, drinking a gallon of vodka a day. You know, I'm the guy that struggled with addiction my whole life. And then December 16th of 2010, I overdosed while driving, hit 2 cars, and put 4 people in the hospital, one being a 9-month-old baby. You know, I could have killed them. October 30th of 2012, Judge Wattis at 26 in California sentenced me to 7 years in the Illinois Department of Corrections. When I walked into prison the second time, I weighed 158 pounds. I'm 6'1". Today I'm about 205. I was skin and bones. I was walking deaf. In that cell, I defecated and vomited myself for 2 weeks straight. I did not sleep a wink for 30 days. And that's why I looked up and I said, God, higher power, whatever's up there, please take away this obsession and compulsion to use. And I swear I'll turn my will and life over to you. And please let me get into Sheridan Correctional Center. And the next day I was transferred to Sheridan. In Illinois, there's 28 prisons. There's 2 drug treatment programs. So at Sheridan, and what else they run down at Cook County Jail, and part of it's called the West Care Drug Treatment Program. And West Care is what they call a therapeutic community. It's a very structured environment. And I needed that structure, and how you had to wear these baby blue Smurf jump outfits until you could memorize this poem, until we're here because there's no refuge finally from ourselves. It took me 3 months to memorize it. I could only memorize 2 words a day, but to get your dress blue, so it's a big deal, Kane. I met my future wife, and I took her out for a date, and I remember her asking me, do you do drugs? I said, God, no, why? And she said, well, I've got a 3-year-old son by the name of Nicholas, who is a deadbeat father, who's a drug addict, and I want nothing to do with the drug addict. And I said, well, I don't do drugs. And she went home to Naperville, went to Chicago, and bought a 1/4 ounce cocaine. Everything that came out of my mouth was a lie. And next, I adopted Nick. Flip side, I'll be the first one to admit I helped kill my own son. You know, when I caught that second case in 2010, about 3 months into fighting it, I was really dope sick. And when you don't have opiates, you're profusely sick. And I was taking a hot bath, and Nick came in the bathroom. He said, what's wrong, Pop? So he said, what do you think, you idiot? I'm dope sick. And he said, not anymore. And he threw 2 bags of heroin on the counter. So I got out of the bathtub, and I did them. And I went in his room, and I said, what the hell are you doing? Don't worry, Dad, I'm just selling a little bit. I said, Nick, this isn't weed, this is heroin, and you know what this drug has done to me. And he looked right at me, and he said, well, Dad, you're a successful drug addict. And I said, why would you say that? Well, we've got a nice house, you got an office in the Wrigley building, you make a good living. Nick thought because I functioned, I was successful. 3 months later, we're doing heroin together. When our son Nick died, we're at the hospital, and I'll never forget having to identify Nick and walk in, and the scream that she made that will be burned in my mind forever. That's where this disease takes you, and I got to live with that for the rest of my life. Even though Nick died on my 21-month sobriety date, he followed in my footsteps, and I don't want anyone to ever go down that road. This isn't a 9-to-5 job, and I'm the guy that helps the hopeless and gives them hope. And I see a lot of people turning their lives around, but I see a lot of people, you know, dying. You know, they go into treatment, they walk out, they're dead 24 hours later. Speak in high schools and middle schools all over the country. And last week I was in Wauseka, Illinois, which is about 100 miles southwest, by Kankakee. It's the middle cornfields. There's nothing out there. And they bust in a couple middle schools, and this is 5th grade to 8th grade. And afterwards, I had an 8th grade girl come up to me, and she said, Mr. Ryan, I have 3 friends here right now that are doing heroin and 5 that are doing cocaine. What I do, I don't only talk about my story, I talk about bullying, I talk about snitching, and I'll say, how's that saying go, snitches get what? Oh, snitches get stitches. And I'll say, no, 95% of the people that get arrested snitch within the first hour. It's called cover your own ass. So I'll pull up 2 friends, and I'll say, all right, Susie and Lucy. Susie, what do you do if you see Lucy going down a slippery slope? Well, I'll talk to her. Really, because that's what all my friends did. Well, I don't know what I'll do. You know what? You snitch on her. You escalate it to a school resource officer, a teacher, a family member. But people are afraid. I'll do these presentations at night, and I'll ask the parents, how many of you have unused prescriptions in your cabinet right now? third to a half of the hands go up, and I'll say, why? Well, what if my back hurts again? Go to the doctor, but you don't keep Vicodin or Percocet sitting in your cabinets, because Max is going to come cut your lawn and ask you to use your bathroom and rifle through your cabinets. Take it. You're all accidental drug dealers. And it shocks them, but it's a reality. You know, we need to talk more about it. You know, not 2 little minute blip on the news at the State of the Union address with Barack Obama. It was his second comment, but it was a 30-second comment, and that was it. So much more needs to be done. And a lot more are going to die before it happens. I've started the second program in the country where an opiate addict can walk into a police station and ask for help. In Dixon, Illinois, we've put over 225 people into treatment in 2+ years, and we've got 80 other police stations in Illinois doing this now. So I brought the first 90-day treatment program to Illinois. Originally started in Gloucester, Massachusetts. It's called the Perry program, and Danny Langlos, the chief of police in Dixon, called me up and he said, hey, I heard about you, I heard about this program. So we met, and I flew him down to Florida. And I said, I want you to see my treatment center. And none of the clients knew Danny was the chief of police. And we're sitting outside talking to him, and one of the kids goes, hey, he's from Boston. He said, hey, Mr. Ryan, did you hear about that cop that's having addicts be able to walk into the station and get help? I said, yeah, what do you think about it? He said, I sure wish it was around 10 years ago, because I would have walked in 10 years ago. He said, police are here to serve and protect, and I wish I could have walked up to an officer. We're in a big problem here. There's not enough beds for treatment. Most people don't have good insurance. And when someone says, I want help, you got a 24 to 36 hour window to get them help. And if we can't, they're dead in the water. They'll go back to using. You know, most people that struggle with opiate addiction are going to die. 95% of people will never get clean and sober. They'll die, or they'll end up in prison, but the ones that do choose to get into recovery have a great shot at turning their life around. You know, I've overdosed 8 times, I've been clinically dead 3. Statistically, I should not be here. I should be back in prison, or I should be dead. When I say heroin addict, or even drug addict, to most people, they think the homeless person on the corner. When the average heroin addict today, or opiate addict, is a 22-year-old white middle-class female and a 23-year-old white middle-class male. It's not the homeless person, and a lot of people are starting with the prescription pain pills. But nobody chooses to be a drug addict. I hope that this epidemic isn't an epidemic in 10 years, but the way things are going, it's going to get a lot worse. I mean, when I started doing this 3.5 years ago, 119 people a day were dying, then 129, now it's 144. But a lot of the places, if it's heroin and, say, Xanax, it's an accidental drug overdose. If you're over 65, most of it's natural causes. There's a huge wave of people over 50 dying from opiates now. So I think our numbers are skewed. I'd like to see them drop. I'd like to see us not incarcerating people and scarring a 20-year-old and 18-year-old kid that got caught 5 bags of heroin with a class 4 felony. Because all those things they dreamed about in life will never happen. It's very difficult to get a career with a felony on your background. I don't know what the answer is. You hear about safe injection sites where people can actually go in and shoot up, and I'm all for it, because if me, Tim Ryan, is going to walk in and I have a nurse there and a doctor and I got clean rigs and I can shoot up, but I can also have some people in recovery coming up and, hey Tim, do you want to keep living this way? And you need to meet people where they're at. My mission is to try to get people to an abstinence-based lifestyle, but it might take some people some time to get there. And if we can reduce the spread of AIDS, Hep C, overdoses, not incarcerate, and get people, you know, if we look to Portugal, which has decriminalized everything, and all the money they took to lock people up, they've now given people jobs and long-term treatment. That's what people need. They need connection. They need a purpose in life. And a lot of people that get into the opiate game have no purpose. Their purpose is to live to use and use to live, just to feel normal. If you got a heartbeat, you definitely got hope. And for the families, to be aware is to be alive.